So we're going to continue today to talk about health professions. And as you can see, I have some guests up here, some very special guests. These are some of my seniors in HMP, and they're going to talk a little bit. So I'm going to take a little license today and let them pitch HMP for those of you who are freshmen or sophomores and might be interested, after you've seen how cool the industry is. Maybe you'd be like, hey, maybe I should major in HMP. They'll talk a little bit. They're going to talk briefly about what HMP is like as a academic experience. And then they have all done internships this past summer in a wide range of organizations. So they're going to talk a little bit about their perspective, what they observed administrators doing in the wild, right? So rather than just listen to me talk about how cool we are, I'll let them talk about how cool we are. So Krista, I'll let you start.
Thank you. All right. So hi, I'm Krista. I'm a senior, just like Monica said. I was originally a biomedical sciences major when I was a freshman, and I think in the beginning of sophomore year too. Yeah. I was always interested in kind of like medical, healthcare sort of stuff, but obviously more science in the beginning. And then kind of realized I didn't want to be in a lab for my entire career. I wanted to do something that was a little bit more like interactive, personal, stuff like that. And one of our friends switched into HMP, and I was like, that sounds like a lot more like something I'd want to do. And so I switched into the major, and it's been a really great experience. We have like a really great alumni network. There's a lot of networking events. And I feel like all of our professors have been like extremely helpful, which we couldn't say for biomed. Abby was also biomed, and it was a completely different experience. And yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about the major. So.
Hi guys, I'm Abby. I'm a senior HMP student also. I, like she said, was also a biomedical science student. I switched second semester sophomore year, so I was a little bit late. But I was kind of the same deal. I came here wanting to be clinical, ended up thinking kind of healthcare marketing might be something I might want to branch into. Stumbled across this major through our friend, and I am so thankful that I did. Our professors are outstanding, and they're so helpful for all of us. And what I love too is there's so much that you can do with this major too, which it's not surface level, which is really great.
Hi there, I'm John. So I also entered UNH as a biomed major. In my freshman year, I wanted to kind of go the whole nursing route after graduation. But then I took 401 Professor Jameson, and it kind of opened me up into the other opportunities in healthcare, because I personally never thought of anything besides clinical work to do. And 401 kind of taught me that, there's all these various careers in healthcare, and that getting your degree in HMP just opens up a lot of doors. And something I really enjoy about the major is that it's a tight-knit community. And I really love the support that we have from our professors and the professionalism and the networking events and opportunities that we get.
Hi, everybody. My name is Caitlin. I'm obviously also an HMP senior. I had a little bit of a different path into HMP. I came into it basically the first week of my freshman year. I had originally enrolled at UNH as a business major, but I had a real passion for public health. I worked in substance misuse prevention in high school and thought maybe I wanted to go on and do law or policy work once I was out of college. But business didn't really match that. And I just kind of plopped myself there because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Then I came across the HMP major, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It combines the business, which I thought was really applicable to just all walks of life, and the public health aspect that I was really passionate about. And that's something I do really love about the major is there's just a wide variety of individuals, some who are really focused in public health and science more, and others who are really focused in business and analytics. And I've just had such a great experience with HMP. I'd recommend it to anybody.
So why don't you just keep going? So why don't you talk about your summer experience, where you were, who you worked with, and what you got to see of how administrators affect the delivery of care?
Yeah, absolutely. So over the summer, I spent my time at Exeter Hospital, which is a 100-bed hospital about 20 minutes from here. They also own and operate a multi-specialty group practice and visiting nursing and hospice association. So they really have it all. And I actually got to shadow the executive team and work directly under their CEO, Mr. Callahan. And with that experience, I got to see basically the ins and out of running a hospital and health system. And I really got full access. So not only did I get to see what the executive team does, which is really high-level strategic initiatives to help push the health system forward. Something I got to work on was how they were going to incorporate digital health and telehealth into their everyday operations and strategy. And since then, they've actually hired a new digital health vice president. So that was really cool that I kind of got to see that project at its insemination. But I also got to see things that I didn't really expect, like how they credential doctors and how those meetings go, how they dig into all of their clinical work, and just like really how much depth is in healthcare. And then also working with teams like in radiology and issues that they come across. It was really a wide spectrum of opportunities. And I think that's what's so cool about healthcare administration is you can be as close to the clinical work or as far away as you want it. So that was my experience.
So I had a little bit of a different experience. So I interned down at Mass Eye and Ear in Boston, which is a specialty ENT hospital, which is part of Mass General Brigham. And I interned in their radiology and quality and safety departments. And they both gave me very different perspectives of healthcare delivery in a hospital setting. So in radiology, I worked on their large unscheduled radiology work queue project, which was part of the MGB initiatives. So it's really interesting to see such like a large project happening through MGB because they're the largest employer in Massachusetts. So I got to see a lot of the behind the scenes of how like they incorporate their projects and how they follow through with their healthcare delivery. And in quality and safety, I was able to see how the quality end of the hospital and how they maintain the patient standards and the patient safety. And it made me realize that there's so many different ways to kind of contribute to patient care. You really don't have to touch a patient to contribute to their care and make their experience better. You can do all the behind the scenes work and truly never see or never touch a patient and still have a large impact on what they do and how they experience their care.
So I had a very different experience from both of them. I interned at Dartmouth Hitchcock Hospital over the summer, and I started off in the creative marketing and communications department. And what I loved about interning at Dartmouth specifically was there was times that I had designated with my preceptor, but there was also times that I was in a group of about 20 of us, college kids, working on building our professional identity. So it was a really great way to kind of break things up. In the internship, I was definitely more on the creative side, which I knew going in wasn't probably what I'd want to be into. But after the internship ended, I have stayed on with them since, working per diem, just in like the marketing and communications department. And that's been a really great experience to get from the internship, just to be able to stay on and keep working on a different side of it.
So I also had a very different experience. I worked with a consulting firm, Baker Newman Noyes, at their Portsmouth office. So I wasn't ever around like anything clinical because they're consulting for like hospitals and other healthcare organizations, essentially. And I worked with the manager and the assistant manager. And basically it was like a ton of stuff in Excel, which sounds kind of scary, but it was really interesting. And I was working on the small hospital improvement program, which is like for small hospitals in Maine, and is basically a lot of like making sure that they're up to date with recent pricing transparency regulations and things like that. I also made a bunch of presentations, and I'd help with some of their audits, and also did some research for like policies kind of coming down the line for hospitals and healthcare in general. And that was a really great place to work. They had a really great culture, and it was a great experience.
So I asked them to come in. So if any of you are interested in learning more about the HMP major, you can of course talk to me, but I can also put you in touch with one of these guys if you'd like to find out more. But I think what they've just kind of demonstrated is how wide a range of responsibilities and foci that people working on the administrative side of healthcare actually have, right? Everything from about 3 kind of hospital-based, but different kinds of hospitals, right? But doing very different things in the hospitals. And then Krista is part of was in part of what we call kind of a very large support industry that, very often we think, and I'm talking to you a lot about healthcare delivery, but there's a huge, kind of support industry all around the direct delivery of care. So it's a lot of really cool, great opportunities where you can, as I said, do well by doing good. So guys, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Any questions for our before I let them go? Any questions about anything you'd like to hear? Yeah.
So for me, first of all, Professor Bonica helped us quite a bit for most of the class, but I was also reaching out to some companies on my own. One of them was Baker Newman Noyes. And actually, I think I only reached out to them because I wanted to set up an informational interview just to kind of ask about the company. And it was a HMP alumni, and I wanted to ask him kind of about like his journey and what he was doing now. And he was telling me about Baker Newman Noyes, and I just expressed interest, like not expecting it to go anywhere. I was like, wow, sounds like a great company. And he was like, well, could probably set up an internship for you if you wanted. I was like, yeah, that would be great. So just, I would say like try and make connections like that too. Like if you express interest to others and make connections, you never know where it's going to lead. So.
So something really special about HMP that has been one of my favorite parts is we have a pre-practicum and a post-practicum. In our pre-practicum, Professor Bonica teaches both, and he'll go through kind of how to apply for internships, what to look for, but he'll also have alumni come and speak to us and send out lists of like alumni and people from like years prior where they interned. And that's, I think, how I got mine with Dartmouth Hitchcock was I think that he had sent along the name of someone who was in marketing, just because there's not a ton of people who have interned in marketing for me. And that ended up working out really well.
Yeah, so HMP has an established like alumni connection with Mass-I, and Professor Bonica does an amazing job at keeping us connected with alumni and pushing us out there and giving us all the opportunities that we need to kind of network and set our foundations. So I got my internship through Bonica and pre-practicum and the alumni network.
My internship has been kind of like a long-standing tradition in the HMP community. I think it's been going on for over 25 years. So Mr. Callahan, the CEO, has taken 2 interns for basically as long as time. So that's kind of how I ended up in my internship. He just pushed his application to our HMP, network, and that's how I ended up there. But it's still a wonderful opportunity.
So Dartmouth, for example, is a public, like anybody can apply to the Dartmouth internship program.
Yeah, there was like 20 of us, I think. There was like 20 of us, I think, in my class, and I was like one of, I think, 3 that were from New England. A lot of people came from out west and California and stuff like that, and then just lived in Lebanon that summer. But because I was mainly remote, I was able to just travel from here.
John and Caitlin were saying, the department has longstanding relationships with a number of organizations like Exeter Hospital, where Mr. Callahan has been the CEO for pushing 40 years, and he has taken interns. I've met interns I've met alumni who are my age who did their internship with Mr. Callahan back when they were UNH, students. Mass-I, we also have a longstanding relationship with, so I can't claim much credit for helping John get that. But Mass-I, it's kind of a joke almost when you talk to the senior leadership. I was talking to the CFO last weekend. She came up for a game because we have that kind of relationship with the organization. But like half of the leadership at Mass-I are HMP grads because we have this great relationship, and they love students out of our major. So yours was kind of a brand new thing.
It was, yeah. For the healthcare guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So any other questions? Yeah, back here.
I know that I always suffer from imposter syndrome, and it's like
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's very common with internships and like first jobs. I mean, going into it, like I didn't know. I mean, I had gotten experience with Excel and like finance and our class with Professor McGrath our junior year, but I didn't know anywhere near as much as they needed me to know, and they kind of knew that. But that's like how internships are. Like they know that they're taking you on, and like it's going to be a learning experience for you, and like they're willing to teach you like what you need to know to help them, and then like you'll keep helping them. And
Yeah, I'll say, because I kind of mentioned that my internship was more on the creative side, and I had taken one class in digital marketing, but a lot of my marketing experience was from outside of the classroom just because of the classes I had to take each semester. So I went into the internship feeling a little bit nervous of like what she was expecting me to know. But I think something that was very stressed to us going into our internships was if you don't know something, that's like completely fine, and just tell them and they'll appreciate your honesty and like you're willing to learn. But if you're trying to like pass by as you can figure it out and then do it wrong, then it has a less bad look. So, or a worse look. So I think because that was stressed so much to us, although I was nervous, I also felt like confident in my ability to say like, I've never done that before, which was really good.
I'll say all they really expect out of you as an intern is just really like be on time, be professional, smile, take on tasks and everything of that component. And any other knowledge that you might have is just in addition to what the skill sets you already present to them. As long as you present yourself professionally and, speak for yourself, they'll take you on and you'll have a really good experience.
Definitely reiterating everything they just said, especially about the whole just showing up and like being present. For my internship, I was under the exec team, and my first day I had a 3-hour meeting with the CEO of the hospital, which was probably the most intimidating thing ever. But really just like being there and remembering that like you were hired into this internship position for a reason. So you're probably just selling yourself short if you think you're not qualified for it. And also that you're the average of your peers for the most part. So they know what they're getting when they take an intern on. So don't feel like you're, not meant to be there.
Take all of those comments. So even if you have no interest in healthcare, I would take all of those comments and say that applies in all industries that take it. So if you're going to go do something in manufacturing, anything else at all, everything they just said applies regardless of the industry. What else? Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming in. Hey, all right.
yes,